Hello everyone, welcome to Keto Living. I am super excited for today's recipe. This is something that I actually saw or got an idea from Rachel Ray. Now I love watching Rachel Ray and I've watched her back since 30-minute meals, which by the way is back on for the month of April, every day of the month at 12 noon. Free plug, not sponsored. But anyway, so she made a vegetarian option that many of you have asked me about with keto. Is there a vegetarian option? And today I'm going to make it for you. Now hers was vegetarian, but it was not keto friendly. And so I've changed some things, added some things, taken out some things. And so hopefully you will love it as much as I did. Of course, I test all my recipes before I bring them to you on camera. And let me tell you, it is super yummy, and I'm very, very excited. Now, as always, if you are vegan, there are options out there for you if you don't eat, like, cheeses and stuff like that. They have vegan cheese out there for you. Now, I cannot honestly tell you about the melt point on it because I have never eaten it. And I'm going to be honest with you, kudos to you if you can do it, but I cannot give up my meat and my eggs and my cheese. Sorry. But there are other options out there for you, and I know I went out and looked. There are vegan cream cheeses, sour creams, vegan shredded cheese and stuff. So there are a lot of options out there for you if you are. Today, however, we're going to stick to vegan and keto friendly. So what are we making? What am I talking about? Well, we are going to be making vegetarian cheesesteak. Now, you know those big gooey sandwiches with all the meat piled on top of it and all that glorious cheese on it. Well, we are going to have all that minus the bread and minus the meat. So, how are we going to make cheesesteaks? We are going to use one of my favorite mushrooms in the whole wide world, and that's portobello mushrooms. Now, I love mushrooms. I have eaten all kinds of mushrooms, and I love them. But today, we're going to stick to the portobello mushrooms. They are the best mushrooms for that big, beefy taste when you cook them. So hang on, and I'm going to put you down here so you can see what all I have going on down here, and we will get started. Okay, now I noticed you see a lot of things on my board here. Please don't get scared. It is kind of a lot, but it's not really. So first of all, we're going to start with portobello mushrooms. Now, portobello mushrooms are these big beefy mushrooms, and they have such good flavor. I have my little garbage bowl over here. And all we're going to do to this, like I did this one, is take the stem out, and we're going to take a spoon, and we're going to get the gills out of it. We don't want the gills in this one. Sometimes I don't mind. Sometimes I do. This is one recipe I did not want them in there. And I believe Rachel removed hers when she was cooking this recipe. I do like getting recipes and transferring them to keto. I mean, who doesn't like to not reinvent the wheel, right? So I have that out. Now, I have never been a fan of washing mushrooms. It makes them soggy sometimes, and it makes it tough. So all I do is take a damp paper towel, and I just wipe the top of them off and get all the dirt. Now, these don't really look that bad. I actually think they were pre-cleaned. I hope not. I don't like buying mushrooms that have been pre-cleaned because that means they ran them through water. Nope, they're not. They ran them through water, and sometimes they do get tough, and they don't brown as well. Okay, so also I'm going to tell you what you're going to see. Now, we are using onion today because there's just no way to make this without onions. So I used a small yellow onion, and I just sliced it up into thin little slices. And then we have garlic, Worcestershire sauce, heavy whipping cream. We have fresh shredded mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. We have cream cheese. And when I made my test thing, threw some of my white cheese dip stuff in there. You know, the kind with the peppers and, the chilies or whatever. And then we're going to be using beef broth instead of wine. and of course garlic. And for our bread part, we're going to be using our mug bread. Now, I am turning this into a casserole because casseroles are just friendly and easy and comforting, and it's a one dish cleanup kind of situation there. Except we are going to have to make pans. Now, to get started, I'm just going to slice up my mushrooms, and I'm just going to slice them in thin little slices. These are big mushrooms. Now, for the whole recipe, you would probably want 2 to 3 mushrooms per person. I don't think I'm going to need this many mushrooms, so I'm slicing up these 2 because they're pretty big. But as you know, mushrooms do cook down to like almost nothing. So I'm just slicing these up. Now, Rachel cooked her onions and her mushrooms in separate pans. Well, I'm kind of busy, you know, and by the time my kids leave my house every day, I don't want to do all that. I'm a kind of a chop, drop it in the pot, one, bam, thank you, ma'am, pan. So I am going to cook these in one pan. What I'm going to cook these in are in 2 tablespoons of butter and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of good quality olive oil. So while we get this set up, I'm going to move over to the stove and we'll get started with that. Okay, so I have my butter in. It's almost melted. Well, it kind of is melted now. And I am going to pour my onions in. And I am going to start them first, even though I'm going to put the mushrooms and everything in the same pan. I'm going to start them first and let them get started softening up. Now, I am not going to cook my onions as long and my mushrooms as long as Rachel did because they are going in the oven as a casserole, so they are going to continue cooking when we take them out. So this is a little bit more involved recipe, but it's really not hard, I promise you. If I wasn't doing this video, I could probably do this in 30 minutes or less. But since I am videoing this, it's going to take a little longer. And yes, true, it might take a little longer for the onions. But I'm just softening these up right now. And then I'm going to add the mushrooms and soften them up. And then I'm going to add some of my seasonings. Okay, so these are getting nice and soft, and I'm going to go ahead and add my mushrooms in the pan. Like I said, I love portobello mushrooms. They're one of my favorite mushrooms, and they just have such a wonderful taste to them. Now, these probably won't take long either. My stove cooks pretty fast for some reason. I don't know why. Ooh, man, overboard. And I'm cooking this on about medium heat. I don't want my onions to get really brown. I'm not trying to caramelize them. I'm not bringing out the sweet flavor in them. I'm just cooking them until they're soft and the mushrooms are nice and beefy and soft. So I'm going to let this cook for about 5 more minutes with the mushrooms. And when we come back, I'll show you what I'm going to pour in here. Okay, guys, so this is pretty much where I want it to be right now. Kind of hanging out here. They're very tender. The onions are very tender. The mushrooms are really getting tender. And so I'm going to go ahead and add what comes next. So I'm going to be adding about 2 teaspoons of crushed garlic. Now, it's really nice when you have fresh garlic. I didn't have any fresh garlic, so I am using this. And I love garlic. You guys know I pretty much put it in just about everything I eat because it's healthy for you. And it keeps vampires away. So I'm going to put about a half teaspoon of thyme. And then I'm going to put a good splash of Worcestershire sauce in here. That's going to add to the beefy flavor. Now, what Rachel did with her recipe is she added Marsala wine. And that sounds really yummy, but I haven't had wine. Well, I take that back. I only have wine when I have communion, and that's just a little wee sip. So, wine is probably not the best thing in the world to drink on a keto diet. Just FYI. Alcohol that is 40 proof and above does not have carbs, but your liver doesn't know that. And it may knock you out of ketosis or slow your weight loss down. So be very careful with that. Just a little FYI. So now, instead of wine, I'm going to be adding some beef broth in there. And then I'm going to let this cook out for the most part. So we're going to let this hang out and cook out. And then we're going to make the cheese sauce for our cheesesteaks. My mouth is already watering thinking about that one. Guys, I wish I had smell a camera. Because this smells so good. Now see, it does cook down a lot. Now we're going to take this off the burner and put it on back here on low. So it just stays warm. And we're going to start making our cheese sauce. And with our cheese sauce, as you know, any cheese sauce always starts with a good roux. However, roux is equal amounts of fat and equals amount of flour, and you cook that out, and then you pour your liquid in milk most of the time, and that's how it's formed. Well, we cannot do that being keto. So I am going to put butter in here to start with. About a good tablespoon and a half. And once that starts melting down, grab my little spatula here. Now we don't want this butter to fry. So what we're going to put in next is our 3 ounces of cream cheese. And I just put a block in here and just kind of break it up in the pan. It will start to melt in a minute into the butter. Because, you know, any keto diet has high fat. This is definitely not a low-calorie vegetarian keto dish, as most of them aren't. So we're just going to move this around the pan. Now, instead of adding regular milk, we are going to add heavy cream to ours. And you guys have seen me make gravy several times using this method as well. So I'm going to let that break down a little bit. Then I'm going to add my heavy cream. I think that's probably going to be about enough. We don't have to have as much as if you're making a cheese sauce. Now the thing to remember about heavy cream is I don't boil it, because sometimes when you boil it, the fat and the cream separate and it kind of makes a big greasy mess. So I try to avoid that by not doing that. So this is just going to be on a simmer. When the cream cheese melts, then we're going to add our other cheese in. And it's our mozzarella parmesan blend. Now, you've all heard me say this before too. While you're on keto, it's really best if you buy fresh cheese and grate it yourself. You're going to save carbs, and you're going to save from eating cellulose and other things like that. Now, if you're not keto and you're watching this for the vegetarian aspect, it's a free-for-all. Go grab the bag of cheese. It's quicker. It's easier. I'm not going to argue that point. But if you're on keto and you want to save every little carb you can, because this is a higher carb keto dish, then shred your own. It's really worth it. And the fresh cheese is just so much better. Now, before we add in our cheese to get melted, and I have some more heavy cream over here just in case I need it, we are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. This is gluten-free, carb-free, and gluten-free. This is a trick to getting your sauces to thicken up without the use of flour. And sometimes just good old cheese will do it. But I usually put at least a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum in there. And you see how smooth this is getting. Okay, so now I'm going to add my cheese. And I have some more grated up cheese in the refrigerator because, well, I just grated the whole blocks up. And I thought maybe this would be really good if I sprinkled it on top, since this is going to be a casserole. Because you just can't have too much cheese, y'all. Yes, I said that. Do you see how yummy this is looking? Oh my goodness. I could swim in this if it wasn't so hot. It's no secret I love cheese. Now, you also know that I like my food a little spicy. This is an option. You do not have to do this. Please do not say I said to use Mexican cheese in your cheesesteak. I'm just putting about a tablespoon and a half in here. Okay? This is going to add about 1.5 carbs to it for the whole dish. But I love that little bit of spice in there. You all know that I love spicy food. But do you see how thick this is? Oh my gosh, look at that. Would that not be wonderful? Oh my word. So this is getting really smooth now. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I can see my little peppers. My little few jalapeno peppers in there. Oh my word, I hope I get some of those. Okay, so now we're going to take this off and we're going to assemble our casserole. Okay, guys, so I did forget to tell you, I did put a teaspoon of garlic, granulated garlic, into the cheese sauce. I almost forgot about that, but I did do that. I'm just going to spray this with some olive oil cooking spray, and we're going to put this to the side. Now, for the bread portion. You know, I made my mug bread, right? And we can't have sandwiches, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice this up. Not very thick, but just enough to cover the bottom of my casserole dish. Okay. We're going to lay this down here. This is our bread. Yay. Okay. We got that. Then what we're going to do is take our mushrooms and our onions, and we're going to lay it on top of the bread. Y'all, my mouth is just hungry right now. Now, if you did not want to make this in a casserole, you could totally do this by taking your fathead dough recipe, dividing it up into 4, shaping it in like a sandwich shape, like a, you know, the thick Italian crusty bread roll or whatever, and baking it, and then slicing it open and using it for your bread. However, that does add quite a few more carbs than this. And so I preferred not to do that. Now this bread is going to soak this cheese up. So we're going to just ladle the cheese over it. And I probably got too much cheese, but I don't care. We're just going to pour some in for right now and spread it around to make sure it soaks through down to the bottom. I want to get every nook and cranny with cheese. And if I have this left over, I have a secret. And a lot of times when you save cheese sauces and you reheat them, they break. But I put mine in a container and I slow heat it. Just very, very slow. And it does not break on me. So this would be great to make your fake out macaroni and cheese with cauliflower, or just to put over broccoli, or heck, y'all, just pour it in a bowl and get you some pork rinds and have at it dipping. Because you know that's how I roll. This girl loves her cheese, and I'm not gonna lie about it. I get hungry when I look at food. I don't know about y'all. Now, I'm going to put this in an oven. I know I said I was going to put more cheese on it, but I don't think I am. I'm going to put this in a 350-degree oven and bake it long enough to this cheese on top is brown. Then when it gets done, we'll bring it out and we'll give it a big old taste. Guys, I have to tell you, this looks amazing. And I can't wait to cut into it and try it. Now, before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about the counts in it. This whole recipe, the way I made it, is 21 carbs. The whole recipe, 21 net carbs. If you serve it in 4 servings, it's going to be 5 1/4 carbs. If you serve it in 3 servings, it's going to be 7. Now, I think you can probably get 6 out of this. When I first tested this recipe, 4 of us ate on it, and we still had some left over. So I'm thinking you might get 6 out of this. But I only had bulletproof coffee this morning, and I intermittent fasting during lunch, and so I'm hungry, and it's going to be probably a 3 carb dish. So I'm just going to kind of cut into this. Not that it's going to come out even right, but we're going to try. Oh my word, look at that cheese. So I'm going to try my best to get this out. Because you have 6 pieces of bread underneath here as the base. Oh my word, y'all, look at that. Oh, yummy. Does that not look good? That's what I'm saying. You could probably get 6 servings out of this easily. And if you got 6, it'd be less than 5 carbs. So, let's get up here and give it a taste. How pretty does that look? Okay, so we're going to cut into this. Get some of our bread and our beefy mushrooms. And try not to burn my mouth because it's hot. Do my little happy dance. Y'all, that is so good. It's amazing. And even though it looks like a lot to put together, it's really not. It just takes a little longer when I put it on camera. But that is amazing. I hope you will try this. Now you can serve this with a little romaine side salad. Or what I served it with the other night, which I could not find a pretty one, so I didn't get any. I found a jicama. And I sliced it up into like fries, like steak fry size. And then Rachel on her recipe did Old Bay seasoned French fries. And they look so good. And I did this the other night, and I'm so sorry I didn't have it on there. But they were so good. Jicama is a great replacement for fries. And it really tastes good when you season them up. So I hope you give this recipe a try. And please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so by clicking that little subscribe button, right there. And tap the little bell so you can be notified each and every time I upload. I am going to link Rachel Ray's original recipe down below in the description box, as well as my recipe. So thank you for joining me today for Keto Living. Next week we'll have a nice tasty recipe again. So come back for that. Thank you so much, Rachel Ray, for your inspiration for my dish. All right, guys, I see you all soon. Bye.